Hi, I'm Rama, and this is Grammar Gurus. On this episode, we're going to talk about the present simple, which is not actually as simple as it sounds. In English, we use present simple a lot, and we use it to talk about a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. So in this episode, we're going to look at some of the most important ways we use the present simple. We use the present simple to talk about daily routines, things that we do regularly, things that we like, love, want, need, and have, for schedules, for describing abilities, and for describing things and the way that they are. Okay, let's look at a couple quick examples of each of these uses of the present simple. For daily routines, we can use sentences like, I wake up at 6:30, I take my son for a walk in the park, I go to work by car, I eat lunch at my favorite pizza restaurant, I come home by van, I watch some TV, spend time with my wife, and go to bed sometime before midnight. Okay, so those are examples of using the present simple tense talking about a daily routine. We can use the present simple to talk about things that we do regularly. For example, I go to the beach on holiday. I play computer games. I watch movies with my friends. I shop at the mall. I eat Japanese food for dinner. These are all things that I do regularly, and therefore I can use the present simple when talking about them. We also use the present simple for things that we like, love, want, need, and have. I like cats. I like swimming. I love my family. I love ice cream. I want a sports car. I have a big family. I have an old, junky car. I need a new DVD player.
PC load letter? What? Oh.
Or, I need some new shoes. So, for things that you like, love, want, need, or have, you just go ahead and use the present simple. For schedules, we use the present simple to talk about schedules, including calendars and dates. So we don't say the movie will start at 5 o'clock. We say the movie starts at 5 o'clock, or the plane departs at 1 a.m. We also use it, like I said, for schedules. So we don't say tomorrow will be Saturday, we say tomorrow is Saturday, or next month is December. We also use present simple to talk about abilities, things that we can and cannot do. For example, I can speak English, but I cannot speak Japanese. Watashi wa aishite doraemon no desu ka? I can swim, but I cannot fly a plane. I can dunk a basketball. No, dude, I can dunk a basketball. Alright, go to the film. For describing things and the way that they are, we often use the verb to be. I am a teacher. She is beautiful. They are from China. But we can also use the verbs smells, looks, feels, and tastes for describing as well. That looks amazing. I feel tired. That sounds good. That smells delicious. Okay, so we need to talk about adverbs of frequency. When using present simple, we often use adverbs of frequency to talk about how frequently we do things. Let's use some examples to clarify this, okay? I always eat breakfast. That means that nearly every day, if not every day, I eat breakfast. I often go jogging in the morning. So that means that most days, or many days, in the morning I go jogging. Not every day, but pretty often I go jogging in the morning. Now sometimes, I sometimes wear dresses. And I sometimes feel tired in the evening. I sometimes feel tired in the evening if I've had a hard day's work. Not always, but a couple of days per week, maybe I'll feel tired in the evening. And I never wear dresses. Never. Now let's look at how we form the present simple tense. The present simple tense is formed by using the subject and the base form of the verb. It's as simple as that. You just need the subject and the base form of the verb. For example, I have, we kiss, they want, you like, she has, he kisses, it wants. Wait, now what's different there? In the last three examples, they all had an S at the end. Why is that? Well, that's what we call the she-it rule. Whenever you have she, he, or it as the subject in the present tense, the following verb takes on an S. For example, let's look at the verb like. I like, we like, you like, they like, she likes, he likes, it likes. This holds true with any verb you can think of. Let's look at have. I have, we have, you have, they have, she has, he has, it has. Or the verb do. I do, we do, you do, they do, she does, he does, it does. The verb go. I go, we go, you go, they go, she goes, he goes, it goes. Let's make some questions in the present simple. First, let's look at questions that can be answered with yes or no. We'll call them yes-no questions. Let's look at an example for routines. They go to school very early.
Hello.
Okay, buddy, let's get our backpack on. Can't forget your backpack.
No, you get your backpack on.
All right, and to the door.
And to the door.
Okay, well let's make a yes-no question. Now as we know, we need a helper verb to make a yes-no question. In this sentence, we don't have a helper verb. We have the subject, they, and we have the main verb, go. We don't have a helper verb, so what do we do? What do we do when we need a helper verb and we don't have one? I'll tell you what we do. We take the verb do, and we put do in front of the sentence, making it a question, and it becomes, do they go to school very early? Now, if we want to answer this question, we will answer with yes or no, obviously, but not just that. If we want to answer with yes, we say yes plus the subject, they, plus the helper verb, do. So yes, they do. If you want to answer no, you say no plus the subject, they, plus the helper verb, do, and then we also add not. So it's no, they do not. Now, we can take do and not and put them together to form the contraction don't. A contraction is where you take two words and put them together to form a new word. So we can say, No, they don't. Now for an example of things that we do regularly. I eat a lot of fruit.
Fruit.
So, if we want to make this a yes-no question, once again, we don't have a helper verb. We just have the subject I and the main verb eat. So, we're going to take do, put do in the front, and it becomes, do I eat a lot of fruit? And the answer is, yes, I do, or no, I don't. Now let's look at an example for things that we like, love, want, need, or have. The monster has 2 heads. Okay, now once again we don't have a helper verb, we just have the subject, the monster, and the main verb has. So we take do again, we put do in the front. Now, do takes the S from has and becomes does. Does the monster have 2 heads? We can answer with yes or no. If we want to answer with yes, we'll use yes plus the subject. In this case, we can just say it because the monster is an it. Yes, it, and the helper verb does. So yes, it does. Now if we want to answer with no, we'll use no plus the subject again, plus the helper verb, plus not. So no, it does not. Or no, it doesn't. Now let's look at an example of a sentence about schedules. The movie starts at 5 o'clock. So we don't have a helper verb, we'll take do. Once again, the movie is an it, so it'll become does. Does the movie start at 5 o'clock? The answer? Yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. Now for an example of abilities. I can slam dunk a basketball. So we know we need a helper verb to make a yes-no question, and it just so happens that in this sentence we have a helper verb already. I is the subject, slam dunk is the main verb, and we have the helper verb can. So there it is. We don't need to add do. We already have a helper verb. So all we need to do is take the helper verb can, move it to the front, and the sentence becomes, can I slam dunk a basketball? Now the answer would be yes or no. If you want to answer with yes, we take yes plus the subject, I, plus the helper verb, can. Yes, I can. Or if we want to answer with no, we take no plus the subject, I, plus the helper verb, can, plus not. No, I cannot. Or no, I can't. Now I'd like to mention that speakers of British English normally pronounce this word as can't, whereas in America we pronounce it can't. And now for an example of describing things and the way that they are. I am very handsome. You said I could use any sentence that I wanted to. What do you mean realistic?
You're handsome. You're a handsome guy.
So to make this a yes-no question, it's a little bit different when we use the verb to be. We don't need to add a helper verb when we use the verb to be. We just take the verb to be and move it to the front. I am very handsome becomes, am I very handsome? Now to answer it with yes or no, let's just take yes plus the subject, I, plus the verb to be, am. So yes, I am. Or if you want to answer with no, we'll use no plus the subject, plus the verb to be, am, and then we'll add not in there. So it becomes, no, I am not. But what if yes or no isn't enough? What if we need more information? Well, we can always use some more information question words. When, where, why, and how. And put it in front of a yes-no question, and then we get more information. Let's take a look at some examples. Let's look at our example sentence. Do they go to school? So that's a yes/no question. We'll take how and put how in front, and the question becomes, how do they go to school? And then we get more information. They go to school by bus. Now let's look at the example sentence, does the movie start at 5 o'clock? And we'll put when in the front. Now because we're asking when, we're going to take off the 5 o'clock so that it makes sense. So the question becomes, when does the movie start? And the answer could be, the movie starts in 2 hours. Okay, now let's use where. Let's take the yes/no question, can I slam dunk a basketball? And we'll put where in the front. So it becomes, where can I slam dunk a basketball? Now the answer to that is anywhere, anytime, on a regulation court with a regulation ball.
This isn't regulation.
Alright, final example. Am I very handsome? We'll take the more information question word, why, and put it in front of this yes/no question. Why am I so handsome? The answer? Gift from God. Another way that we can make a question is by replacing the subject with who or what. We use who for people and what for things that are not people. Let's look at the example sentence, they go to school very early. Now we can take the subject, they, and replace it with who. So the sentence becomes, who goes to school very early? Now for the example sentence, the monster has 2 heads. So we can take the subject, the monster, and we can replace it with not who, but what, because a monster isn't a person. So the sentence becomes, what has 2 heads? I can slam dunk a basketball. We'll take the subject, I, and we'll replace it with who. So the sentence becomes, who can slam dunk a basketball? For our last example, we'll take the sentence, I am very handsome. So we just take the subject, I, and replace it with who. And it becomes, who is very handsome? Let's take a look at making negative sentences. So sometimes we want to say that something does not happen, or that someone cannot do something. And to do that, we make a sentence negative. Let's look at one of our examples. They go to school very early. Okay, now, to make it negative, we need a helper verb, and we need to put the word not into the sentence. So we'll take the helper verb do, and we'll add not. And the sentence becomes, they do not go to school very early. Or, they don't go to school very early. Okay, now for the next one. I can slam dunk a basketball. Now, in this sentence, we have a helper verb already. We have the helper verb can. So we have the subject, I, the main verb, slam dunk, and the helper verb can. So all we need to do is add not to make this sentence negative. So it becomes, I cannot slam dunk a basketball. Or, I can't slam dunk a basketball. Okay, let's look at one more. I am very handsome. Now the verb to be is special. The verb to be, we don't need a helper verb if we have the verb to be as the main verb in a sentence. We just take the word not and we add it, and the sentence becomes, Jeremy is not very handsome. How's that for realistic? Alright, now it's time for some tough stuff. Would and could in the present simple. Now often we use would in the past to talk about something that you did before that you don't do now. But in the present simple, we can use would, most often combined with like, as would like, as a polite way of saying that you want something. Would you like something to drink? What would you like to order? Hey, I would like to come too. I would like to have the pasta primavera. Could is often used in the past as sort of a past tense of the helper verb can. But in the present simple, it's used for a very polite way to ask for something. It's considered more polite than using the verb can. So rather than saying, "Can you let me borrow $50?" you could say, "Could you let me borrow $50?" And that's softer and more polite. So remember to be polite by using could when you're asking for things and using would like when you want something. Now remember, when talking about abilities, we normally use can or can't, but you don't always have to. You can sometimes just drop the can or the can't and say things like, "I speak English," without having to say, "I can speak English." Or rather than saying, "She can swim very, very quickly," you can just say, "She swims very quickly." Finally, in academic work, we normally use the present simple. For example, the author uses, the research shows, the studies suggest. These are all examples of using the present simple in academic work and academic research. Alright, well that's it for this episode of Grammar Gurus. As you can see, the present simple is used in a lot of different ways for a lot of different things. Well, don't forget to subscribe, and if you have any questions about English or grammar, go ahead and leave them in the comments box below. Alright, bye now.